for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country.
And there you have it. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said he prayed for 33 hours that the killer wasn't one of us. What he meant was clear. He was praying it wasn't a white Republican. He wanted to pin it on a black person, a Latino, an Asian, an immigrant, someone queer, someone trans. He wanted anyone else to take the blame. That's not praying. That's bigotry. That's scapegoating. And it tells you exactly where his priorities lie. Protecting his party instead of facing reality. That the violence is coming from within. Well, sir, your prayers weren't answered. Tyler Robinson was a registered Republican, homegrown in Utah. A white Republican.
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from now. Have you ever known, for instance, that pride, hate, arrogance and ignorance are the 4 pillars of apocalypse that have brought strong and great men down, that have destroyed great countries? Now, America is witnessing something that is very, very dangerous at the moment. The same white communities coming after their own. Now they are calling out the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, to resign for remarks he made about the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
So I don't know if any of you watched the press conference today. I want to talk about what the governor of Utah said, which was that he really hoped that it wasn't someone from his state. He went on to say that he hoped it was someone from another state. He hoped it was someone from another country. Now, then he goes on to say that the division in the politics needs to stop. He in no way gave a speech today to me that would say, oh, he wants it to stop. I thought my governor was bad. Ugh. Tate Reeves, geez. I thought he was radicalized. When you think about the stuff that he was saying, the governor, his mind shows to me that he is more focused on blaming actual problems here in America on homegrown soil. They are so much more focused on finding other reasons to blame stuff on, just like a narcissist, right? When they know that there is really a problem, they are so much more focused on finding other reasons to excuse the problem. It's a homegrown terroristic act, just like all of the other school shootings. And that's the issue that needs to be fixed. It's not looking for people outside of your state or out of the country. You know, this is here. This is at home. This is something that needs to be addressed again. And one last thing I want to talk about. I looked at a lot of the comments that were going on during that live, and oh my God, so many threats on left-leaners.
I just finished watching a press conference by the governor of Utah. And if you haven't seen it, then you definitely need to go back and watch it. I can't believe the words that came out of this man's mouth. I can, but I can't. He actually said that he prayed that it was not one of them, that he hoped that it was somebody from another country or from another state. He actually said that. That came out of his mouth because he's saying that it would have made it a lot easier because the type of things that happened to Charlie, those things don't happen in Utah, is what he's saying. But I also noticed too that they keep saying that this is political violence. But as far as I know, and from what I've heard about the guy who took out Charlie Kirk, he was actually a number 47 supporter. He was not from the left. He was actually from the right. He was actually one of them. So I don't understand why they keep trying to make this political. Now, as far as I heard, the guy that did this to Charlie, he didn't like him, is all that I heard them say. It had nothing to do with politics. I did not hear him mention politics, but he did not like Charlie.
Oh, I've tried to make this video a couple of times, but it keeps going long. So I'm going to try to talk fast because I don't normally talk fast. Anyway, I just watched the press conference about the suspect in custody in the killing of Charlie Kirk. Very good thing. Less than 36 hours, they caught the person responsible. I think there's been some sort of confession. They got their guy. Great. Press conference gives details, and then, as is typical in this situation, law enforcement gets up and pats themselves on the back. FBI gets up, pats himself on the back, and then the governor of Utah starts to speak. The governor of Utah is talking about dangerous rhetoric that leads to political violence and how it has no place in our country. And I am 100% aligned with that sentiment. That is what needs to be said. But then he goes on to thank the people of Utah for coming out in support of law enforcement, in support of Charlie Kirk and his family, in support of the university community that has experienced this trauma. All wonderful things. And then he says, unlike what we've seen in other cities with rioting and looting and violence. And that's where he fucking lost me. Because what do you mean? Other cities experiencing violence, looting, and rioting. That microaggression is coded language for racism. He is speaking directly about where we have seen an outpouring of protests that, yes, have turned violent at times and have turned into riots. None of those things are okay. None of it's okay. But there's a big difference between what happened after, say, George Floyd, for example, and what's happened in Utah, and that is justice. The full arm of the law went out and tracked down this murderer. He is in jail. He will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Whereas in these other scenarios, law enforcement were the perpetrators of that initial violence, and there was never going to be justice until the live video and that public outpouring of anger forced the hands of someone to go, maybe we should look into Derek Chauvin and see if maybe he was a little too aggressive. That is the major difference. We did not have to go and angrily force anyone's hand to get justice for Charlie Kirk and his family. He was afforded that justice immediately. Whereas when a Black American is killed by law enforcement, we go right to questioning whether or not they deserved it. Nobody deserves to be a victim of violence. And it doesn't matter their socioeconomic status, their fame, their fortune, or their race. So no, we don't have to have riots in Utah because the right things are being done. But the next time a police officer kills a Black man and the local authorities just brush it off, yeah, we are going to take to the streets and demand justice.
Did Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, just defuse the largest bomb in modern history here in the United States? In my opinion, yes, he did. Since Charlie Kirk's unaliving, we have all been absolutely glued to the news, to the commentaries, to the videos. We've seen a lot of people speak, a lot of people chime in. I didn't even know the governor of Utah before this week. Spencer Cox, what a hell of a guy this one is, huh? There has never been the division and the anger and the frustration in our country in my lifetime as there has been over the this last week. And it's been a real question, is this the tipping point? Which direction are we going to go? And I think Spencer Cox just single-handedly stopped a bomb from going off, basically. He was put in the spotlight for the entire world to see over the last handful of days. And I guess the only ways I would describe his speech is sincere and honest on point and inspirational. I just watched his speech this morning after they caught the guy who unalived Charlie Kirk. And listening to Spencer Cox talk about this, I think he might have just turned us around. And I hope so. I really hope that is the case. And I hope that everyone else that watched him talk feels the same way that I do. Because we don't need more violence. I know you feel it, but we don't need more violence. It's not going to, in the end, it's not going to be the answer. So, anyways, I say kudos to Utah and kudos, the state of Utah and the governor of Utah. You couldn't have handled a situation better than what you just did. One of the most tragic that we've had in our lifetime. And the state of Utah under Spencer Cox, you did magnificent. So I say thank you.
So the governor of Utah saying that he prayed for 33 hours, that he wished that it was not one of them. He sat there and said that he prayed for 33 hours that the gunman, the alleged gunman, was not one of theirs. He wanted them to be an immigrant so bad, a person of color so bad that he prayed for 33 hours that it was not one of them. I know we all heard what we heard. And come to find out, it was one of him. Clock it. I would do my little finger clip, but I got popsicle in my hand. Clock that. Sir, yeah, it was one of yours. What did you think? Who did you think? Who could you possibly have thought it was? You think black people, brown people is going to sit up there with a high power rifle on somebody's rooftop? First of all, we burn in the sun as well. We burn in the sun as well. Okay? Why would we sit on somebody's rooftop to unalive somebody because they have a difference of opinion? If you have a difference of opinion, you have a difference of opinion. We've never stopped people from having a difference of opinion. The only thing that we want is equal rights. That's it. Equal rights. Fair treatment. Accountability for the things that has taken place. But nah, you say, oh, I prayed for 33 hours that the gunman, the alleged gunman, was not one of ours. My God, today, if they not telling us who they are and we not believing them at this point, there is something wrong with us. Believe what people tell you the first time.
The governor of Utah just said, we do not condone violence. This is a sad day. America is mourning Charlie Kirk. Violence is never the answer. You don't take someone's life because you don't agree with what they believe. We also have the death penalty. So we will find you and we will kill you. Sir. What? This is the most unserious nation in the world. Because what do you mean? Violence is wrong and people should be able to debate and don't kill anybody, but we're going to kill you. That don't go together. That don't go together. He way too partisan to be making this speech. He should have just been like, we sad for the family. I'm going to let the law enforcement talk.
I saw a Muslim creator talking about how the governor of Utah really wanted Charlie Kirk's shooter to be Muslim, and in his press announcement that was very clear. I don't think that's fair at all. I think he, like we all, sincerely hoped that the shooter wasn't from his community, and I think that's completely fair. We also hope the shooter wasn't from our community. That's not racist.
Dearest God, I need your mercy. I need your light right now. There is a suspect out there right now who took one of our own. And I just need you, for the love of everything, please, please, make sure he's from another country. Please. I mean, if not from another country, if not an illegal immigrant, please let them be from Florida. But not Utah, God. Not the home of the Mormons, God, please. We wouldn't do this to each other. Please, if you could just let the name end in a Garcia, a Rodriguez, a Gutierrez, a Jenkins, if you will. Please. This can't be happening here. You wouldn't, I know you, if you could just make that happen for me. Oh, dear God. I will be so ever grateful. God, I promise you, I will not put my hands on my third wife. I promise you. Please, just make sure they are not from Utah. Amen.
For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country.
And there you have it. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said he prayed for 33 hours that the killer wasn't one of us. What he meant was clear. He was praying it wasn't a white Republican. He wanted to pin it on a black person, a Latino, an Asian, an immigrant, someone queer, someone trans. He wanted anyone else to take the blame. That's not praying. That's bigotry. That's scapegoating. And it tells you exactly where his priorities lie. Protecting his party instead of facing reality. That the violence is coming from within. Well, sir, your prayers weren't answered. Tyler Robinson was a registered Republican, homegrown in Utah. A white Republican.
Utah's Governor Spencer Cox is speaking out after Charlie's unaliving and mentioning all of the disinformation being spread around by our foreign adversaries. The goal of all of this disinformation is to spark a civil war and keep the United States divided so they can conquer us. To all of the Republicans out there who love Charlie Kirk, don't let his unaliving be a reason the United States gets taken over by one of our foreign adversaries. Take a look at this clip.
What we're seeing is our adversaries want violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence. I would encourage you to ignore those, to turn off those streams.
This is the truth that we don't hear nearly enough from our leaders. Disinformation is one of the most crucial threats to the United States. Foreign adversaries like China and Russia have realized they don't need to fire any missiles to destabilize America. Instead, they just flood our feeds with lies, disinformation, and rage, and it works every single time. Of course, the most recent example of this is Charlie Kirk's unaliving, when the media was instantly flooded with lies and disinformation about Democrats being a part of it. The worst part is Fox News played right into the demands of Russia, calling for a civil war, saying the Democrats are at war with us, and so did Steve Bannon and Alex Jones, by the way. Keep an eye on those people. But also think about all the lies that have been spread about vaccines, elections, and even our democratic institutions. These aren't just simple misunderstandings. They're fueled by coordinated campaigns designed to turn us against one another. If we allow ourselves to be manipulated, then we're doing the enemy's work for them. And unfortunately, it seems like Fox News has played into this multiple different times.
Okay. All right. Is it just me, or does anybody else agree with me? First of all, Governor Cox of Utah, you are incredible. You are very, very well posed, very well spoken. You clearly have a good heart with the way that you speak to people, and I'm just like truly impressed. We need more of you in DC. You see where I'm going here? Yeah. Can you consider a run for office? Maybe as someone's VP? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off base here, but you have impressed me over the last few days with your conferences, your thoughts, and your goals. Let's go.
If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere.
The same people who cheer for the deaths of children in Gaza are trying to tell me that I have no humanity because I have no empathy for Charlie Kirk, who supported those deaths of those children in Gaza.
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from now. Most of us know whatever happened, and the fact that Charlie Kirk was lost in a very tragic way. I mean, his assassination, he was unalived, and this has brought a lot of discussions both in the black community and in the white community. Now, the recent person to be on the light for having talked about this is Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah. Now, the governor of Utah talked about some serious things, and many people online are not taking this lightly, because he came out and he talked about things like that Charlie Kirk's death was as a result of political assassination, you know, which are very strong words to use in the modern era. Now, he went ahead and argued out that it was not just an attack on an individual, but an attack on America and its ideas, you know. Most of the Republicans believe that Charlie Kirk was the best person to describe the Republicans, the MAGA itself, like Make America Great Again. He went around the US speaking about the gospel of MAGA. You must remember, in one of his very viral interviews, he said that his work is to make sure that Donald Trump comes out as one of the most successful presidents in the US, and one was to keep his legacy, you know, and to make sure that the policies that are not well communicated to the people at the grassroots level was communicated by him. He later on went ahead and said that he is number two, that the thing that he wanted to do the most on his list was to make sure J.D. Vance becomes the president later on in 2028. You know, things are turning out so fast. We are seeing a lot of criticism about the governor of Utah. Many people feel like he has gone out of context. I've always said, when empires are falling, when kingdoms are falling, there always must be that one person who will be blamed for everything. And in this case, they have found that person, and that person is the governor of Utah. I mean, Spencer Cox. He has been on the limelight. Many people are actually saying that this is the time he should resign. He should get sacked, or he should be taken out of office because of the sentiments he made. But we've seen most of these things happening. And, you know, there is a culture that is growing mostly in the US. The culture of trying to cancel people who you do not believe or who you do not actually agree with ideologically. Most of the people feel like things should go their way. And when someone talks and he doesn't mean, or he doesn't actually represent whatever ideas they carry, they feel like they're threatened, and all they want is to make sure the person goes down. That's whatever is happening at the moment with the likes of Spencer Cox. Now, most of the Republicans and most of the white community feels like Spence is going out to say more, you know, that is revealing more to the world, and they feel like he is not fit enough to be the governor in the US. Now, the governor has urged people to embrace unity. He has talked about having less rage in politics, that politics is about ideas. And when you talk about ideas, you don't have to analyze someone just because they differed with you ideologically. You don't have to bring chaos just because someone didn't speak whatever you thought. You can't justify something that, like the one that was done to Charlie Cook, just because, one, you don't agree with the people. Most of the time, I repeat, most people go to do some things that are very crazy just because they didn't agree with the person talking. They didn't agree with the person who presents their ideas in a different way. This is why we are having a collapsed economy. This is why we are having things that are happening not in the favor of many people. People go to the ballot to do identity politics, most of them, and when all these things are happening, they always find someone to blame. They can't just agree or accept the fact that they are on their own and they apologize to the people. They will always go and beat around the bush so that they might find someone to put the blame on. When someone is talking about less polarization, when someone talking about unity and the rest, why is it that people are so much mad? I know that I don't agree with other things that Spencer Cox has talked and has addressed the media, saying the fact that he tries to criticize people online for radicalization of the unaliving of Charlie Cook, and trying to blame algorithms for pushing such videos. It's very crazy because these videos are pushed because first they're popular topics and people really need to know about them. So why will someone get mad because the world is knowing of whatever is happening? Most of the time, and I repeat, most of the time things have been done in the silence and in darkness. So when these things come back to be exposed to the world, the Western world was doing things in silence with a lot of privacy. When we didn't have media, it was so easy for them to make up stories, and to try as much as they can to brainwash the world to believing whatever they say is true. But with the inception of the online reporting, inception of social media, things have changed really quick. No one depends on the mainstream media to report, because when I was checking a post about when the mainstream media posted about the brutal shooting of Charlie Cook, it was around 3 hours after he was shot. Now, 3 hours after he was shot, most of the world, I mean almost the whole world had already known about the story. So this is whatever they have been doing for a very long time, trying as much as they can to hide the truth from you. But they are very, very afraid because the truth is getting out here so quick, and the people can hear, feel, see, this is the truth and this is the way we want to go. This is really pissing off the Western media, pissing off the Western powers, and at the same time they're trying as much as they can to pull or to bring this down. That's the point. I do not agree with him, but the fact that people have started the canceling nature just because someone is speaking their mind, I feel like we need we really need to understand the truth, rather than when we try to convince ourselves with a lot of lies, which later on brings harm to us. Very dangerous. Brothers and sisters, we've seen things happening. We still see things happening. And I'll repeat this. When kingdoms are collapsing, they always find someone to put a blame on. And you will always remember this one day. It has been 400 years, and slavery has taken the better part of the US. They practice this. They have never apologized. In fact, they feel so great, and they always talk about how they brought civilization to the world. not remembering the fact that they are talking about the same civilization that they have brought with much pain. In fact, civilization started back when fire was invented. And when you know the history books, when you've read the history books that they wrote themselves, you know who invented fire. And that was the beginning of civilization. As much as we want to debate this, as much as we want to debate about the political tension that is in the US right now, let's still remember that without the unity of purpose, it is nothing. The people need to come together and unite. They need to come together and work as a force, not as individuals. Most of the times, people have been working as individuals. They have been trying to push ideologies as individuals, not pushing ideologies that could help the rest of the people, but pushing ideologies that, one, could benefit them directly or indirectly, two, could harm their force in politics, those who they don't agree with politically or ideologically. So when this happens, in most of the cases, that's when we end up having so much rage in the public domain. And this is when we have so much young people unemployed, being hit with tariffs. They graduate with no jobs and so many other things. So we must be very careful how we want to do things. We must be very careful how we judge people and how we want to bring people down. I personally do not agree with the things mostly happening in the US, and mostly the fact that the Republicans promised a lot, but the people feel like they are still not delivering or bringing the things they said, doing the things they promised the people. So as much as the people are so much angry, we must know how to control our anger. We must be very brave, and let's not focus on negativity. Let's be very positive with the things we do. The world is collapsing just because of negativity, just because some people hate others, just because things are being done in a way to punish Africa, to punish the other part of the world, and others to remain superior. This is whatever is bringing so much rage. I'm not here maybe to agree with a certain part of people, to disagree totally with a certain people. I really like arguing on ideologies. Those that work, those are the things that we move with. Thank you so much.